these essential pillars of international relations.
Ratcheting up hostilities in recent days.
Engage closely with partners and allies, something that he is.
Rather than a Ukrainian-backed genocide, which Putin and his Eastern Ukrainian allies claim, all the evidence points to Russian-backed escalation of hostilities. The accusation of genocide in Eastern Ukraine by Russia is just part of Russia's playbook to justify war. The other is to try to spark a retaliation from the Ukrainian military. You can find all kinds of analysis like this. It doesn't make sense. Ukraine is going to be surrounded by Russia's military threatening to invade, and they're going to launch some terror attack on like a bus stop in eastern Ukraine. It's just ridiculous. And the videos, Eastern Ukraine has been producing these ridiculous videos which have all these clear flaws in them, claiming to be videos of evidence of terror attacks. It's just nonsense, but it doesn't matter. And by the way, if you happen to watch Putin's big hour-long nutty speech he gave a few days ago, it wasn't about Eastern Ukraine at all. It wasn't about the LPR, or whatever you call it, and the DNR at all, or the DPR at all. What was it about? It was all about how much he hates Ukraine. And it was about how Ukraine is not a state, and Ukraine doesn't deserve, it should be part of Russia, and all this awful stuff about Ukraine. So we can sit here and talk about the LPR and the DPR or whatever it's called. That's not what this is about. Go watch his speech. And you see how much he talks about Eastern Ukraine in his speech. It's all about Ukraine. It's all about just how much he thinks Ukraine shouldn't be a state. It's basically, I told you this when it happened. The speech is basically a declaration of war on Ukraine. That's what it was, except for actually saying at the end, we're attacking you now. So please, I would encourage you to go watch that speech if you haven't, or at least read it. You really should watch it, not read a transcript of it. So it's very clear what's happening. Look at this. Jennifer Griffin says, note that the date of the request from the Putin-backed leaders for help is February 22nd, which many thought would be the start of the invasion. Some of the predated pretexts for an invasion by Russian forces were prepared and still have those dates on them. Now, and somebody just said agenda-free no more. I want to address this. Not having an agenda doesn't mean not having an opinion. An agenda is when you're biased. An agenda is when you come to an issue and you're predisposed to side on one issue or another, or to side with one side or another. That's not what I do. I come to every issue with an open mind and I look at the evidence. And all the evidence here and the evidence from Putin's past is that he's a total liar. He lies all the time. They make all this stuff up. And all of this nonsense in Ukraine is clearly just nonsense and lies. That's not having an agenda. That's just being a rational thinker. So I want to be clear on this, because some people think not having an agenda is everything is equally, you should treat everything, you should believe everything equally as much. You shouldn't reject anything. So if somebody says 2 + 2 = 4 and somebody says 2 + 2 = 5, some people say not having an agenda is saying like, oh, well, I guess two people are saying two different things, so I have to say they're both just as good. No. What we do on this channel is we go into everything with an open mind. But when all the evidence says one thing, then and it's overwhelming evidence, then the reasonable thing to do is believe that thing. That's not having an agenda. That's just being a open-minded, rational, reasonable thinker. So just to be clear, if you want to say that because that not having an agenda means that 2 + 2 = 5 has to be as credible to you as 2 + 2 = 4, you better go look up the word agenda, because you've misunderstood what not having an agenda means. There's a difference between agenda-free and opinion-free. Michael Weiss says, please keep in mind that Kharkiv, which U.S. officials today have claimed is now in the crosshairs, is a city of over 1.4 million people. It is more populous than all of Estonia. Phil Stewart just posted this from Reuters. The Biden administration is not expected to target Russia's crude oil and refined fuel sector with sanctions cutting off trade due to concerns about inflation and the harm it could do to European allies, global oil markets, and U.S. consumers, officials say. That's from Phil Stewart, Reuters. It is 11:45. It is 11:45 p.m. Ukraine time. It is 11:45 p.m. Ukraine time. We could be seeing tonight a Russian attack on Ukraine. All the signs are there.
Okay, this podunk jalopy, what's this thing cost? And they say, oh, this thing's $8,000. And you go, $8,000, I like that. Let's go inside and sign papers.
Dursis, who I follow and I agree with, says this.
You know, it's actually
Russian media is
Here's
endlessly blasting Russians with fake stories about genocide and civilians being slaughtered by Ukraine.
You can't
as a
later
final step,
go,
Russian proxies are openly asking Russia to intervene by expelling Ukrainian forces from territory under Kiev's control.
And you signed it.
That's what's happening.
Okay? That's what happened with the eastward expansion. So I don't know how many more times I have to mention
Thomas Thiener says
probably more.
Almost 1 a.m. in Crimea, but the last few kilometers of road before Ukraine are totally clogged. I assume that Russian tanks and trucks are all over this road now. He said, second image, traffic on this road on a normal night. I don't know if I can find this on Google Maps. Here's Crimea, which Russia stole from Ukraine in 2014. Yeah, he's talking about this. See the orange here? This is controlled by Russia down here. They stole it from Ukraine in 2014. So there's the border right there between the occupied and unoccupied, Ukraine. So he thinks all of this orange here is and you can compare it to normal, typical traffic. Yep, there's typical. That's typical traffic. That's typical traffic. And here's live traffic. And this distance, guys, this goes on for miles. This goes on for miles. Look at this. That right there is 15 miles. That's 15 miles. So this orange here is about 8 miles of orange. And on a typical night, it's all green. It's a little orange up here. Whereas tonight, there's some green here, but all orange here. I got to retweet that. Here, I'm going in here. See, if you look, there's orange and red. I don't know. Thomas Thiener is an analyst, so And guys, well, it says both sides. Some of it's, anyways. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Parallel Universe says locals on social media report that phone service and internet is down all across the Putin regime-controlled parts of Luhansk and Donetsk regions. That's from Parallel Universe. That's in eastern Ukraine. I'm going to check Telegram and see if I can find anything more about that. Ateo Breaking News, which is a Telegram account I follow, I don't know if this is right. They say in the Ukrainian Telegram channels, they wrote that the jammer IL-22PP aircraft of the Russian army took off into the air. I have no idea if that's true. It is almost midnight. It is almost midnight. It is 9 minutes before midnight. It is 9 minutes before midnight in Ukraine. Intel Crab just retweeted this from Alexandru C4. Pro-Russians Telegram. Connection is being cut off. These are ours. Kraushka's Russian electronic warfare systems are working. Please don't worry, this is temporary. Electronic warfare works. Be patient without the internet and phones until the morning. It's 8 minutes before midnight. This is an unconfirmed report from C4H10FO2P. Mariupol in southern Ukraine. Stores have closed. Businesses are exporting goods and packing equipment. Car dealerships take out cars, locals report. Breaking news. Interesting new notice to airmen over Kharkiv up to 16,500 feet. Possibility of interception for offenders. Remember, Kharkiv airport has been closed tonight. New notice to airmen over Kharkiv for up to 16,500 feet. Possibility of interception for offenders. It also says, this is from OSINT Technical, less than 5,700 kilograms inclusively are restricted and could be allowed only by permission of Ukrainian Air Force only. Possibility of interception for offending aircraft. Thomas C. Thiener, analyst Thomas C. Thiener says, Ukraine's air defense is on high alert. Anything coming over the eastern or northern border will be shot down. Let's look at, Airbus, look at this. Airbus entered Ukraine from Polish airspace. Look at this flight right here. This one. Look at what this flight did. Look at what this flight did. Wow. Unbelievable. This flight was coming from down here to Kiev, but it went all the way around. It went all the way around to the west. And the speculation is that it didn't want to come from the east because of the possible hostilities to come. Or maybe, whatever. It's a strange route to be taking. It just landed. Oh, it's about to land, I guess. Or maybe it just landed. It said estimated 11:49. See, it was supposed to land at, I don't know, I'm confused here. Scheduled, actual, anyways. It looks like it's landed. Yeah, see, it was supposed to land 2 hours ago. It was supposed to land 2 hours ago, it looks like. Maybe because of the time difference. But it went all the way around. Intel Crab talked about this too. Notice to airmen, details are up and it's not good. This is a notice to planes flying over Kharkiv, Ukraine, saying if something's up there that doesn't meet these restrictions, you could be intercepted. Remember, Kharkiv Airport is now shut down for the night. Kharkiv Airport shut down for the night. 1.5 million people live in Kharkiv. It's here. It's thought to be a possible target for Russia if they invade. And the airport has been shut down there. And there's a notice to airmen that only certain planes are allowed in the sky. I think above us, they're not supposed to be above a certain weight, I believe it says. Or it could get shot down. See? Restricted area. Flights of no drones. Flights of unmanned aircraft in this area are prohibited. Flights of the aircraft with maximum takeoff weight, less than 5,700 kilograms, are restricted and could be allowed by permission of Ukrainian Air Force only. Okay, so basically, no flights without permission of Ukrainian Air Force are allowed up there. And it says if you offend that, you might get intercepted. Possibility of interception for offenders of this rule of this order. No, Kharkiv is not in the Donbas region. Kharkiv is not in. I don't believe it's technically Donbas. It's no, it would be north of that or northeast of it. I'll show you where Donbas is. Oh, it doesn't even have it here. I'll get you a map of it. I believe it would be north of Donbas. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's not in like you see like here? It says the present day definition of Donbas. Luhansk and Donetsk.
To me,
I guess this is Kharkiv region.
It is completely
I assume that's Kharkiv
unconvincing.
Region.
Ложись.
Okay. So just to sum up what's going on, guys. It's 2 minutes till midnight.
How it's
2
being
minutes till
filmed.
midnight.
I don't know. I have no idea.
And it really looks like Putin has created his excuse to invade. That's what it looks like. The Kremlin says that
I don't know.
The Russian-backed
I'm
separatists
being
in
careful.
eastern Ukraine,
I do not
the
know
DNR
if
and
that-
LNR, have asked Putin to, this is
made
made up,
It's
help
also weird
beat
how
back
it's
the
being
aggression
filmed.
of the
I
Ukrainian
don't know.
armed
I
forces
have no
to
idea.
avoid victims among the civilian population in the catastrophe in Donbass, per Russian wires. Max Seddon says this could be it. There's no threat. The
I
Ukrainian
don't know.
forces are not
So I'm being
attacking
careful. I do not know if that is real or
Eastern
not.
Ukraine.
It is
There's
very,
not
very
a genocide in
difficult for
Eastern
me to tell.
Ukraine. There's no risk of a
Okay,
humanitarian
but actually, but these
catastrophe
we've got
from
swe-
Ukrainian forces attacking Eastern Ukraine. But that's the excuse. Now it appears this is what many have said, that if it came out, Putin would use this as an excuse to attack Ukraine. This has happened. These letters of request, both letters were dated yesterday. Not even really trying to make it seem spontaneous. Both letters are dated yesterday, which suggests this was all planned well in advance. So again, what's really going on here, it's not about Eastern Ukraine. It would be Putin just coming up with an excuse to attack Ukraine and not say, I'm attacking Ukraine because I hate Ukraine and I want to destroy the country and have it and take it over, or something like that, which would be the real reason. Phil Stewart says, satellite image company Maxar says latest images show number of new deployments in western Russia. That would be near Ukraine. He's with Reuters. It is midnight. It is now midnight. It is now midnight. It is now officially Thursday the 24th in Ukraine. It is Thursday the 24th. So now we wait. Oh, in case you missed it, also, malware has been found. The company ESET Research, a couple companies actually, but one of them being ESET Research, it's a security company. They have found a new data wiper malware used in Ukraine today. They have found it on, they say, hundreds of machines in Ukraine. So maybe Russia has put that on today or sometime recently, and they plan to use it before an invasion to wipe data off computers. I don't know, but that's from ESET Research. So, really, Putin has what many people thought would be his excuse. Marx posted this. Outint. There is a sudden 7.5 miles traffic jam on the road from Belgorod towards the Ukrainian border. That's not good. Let's see. Let's go to the map and see what we see. Hang on one moment. Because that could, say, be a lot of tanks, a lot of military equipment. Belgorod. There's Belgorod. There's the border with Ukraine. Let's turn on traffic. Can we see the traffic? Where is he talking? Oh, maybe he's using it. He might be using not Google Maps. He might be using not Google Maps because I don't see it on Google Maps.
You know what's fucking terrifying? I was gonna start testosterone today. I was going to start transitioning.
So
into being
he's
a male.
saying
I had a major epiphany the other
at,
day, and I came to the realization that I was not
on
transgender.
what he's looking at, it's showing a
yeah, nitpicker
7.5 mile traffic
I'm not
jam
a guy.
heading
I devoted so many
on the
years
road heading
to
into
trying
Ukraine,
to
to the
convince
border.
myself that I was a male, but I realized that I wasn't.
We already
Never
showed
thought
you,
that this day
Thomas
would come.
Diener mentioned that
Hi guys,
from the
I'm Maya.
south
I'm a
in
cisgender
Crimea, there
female.
appears to be a several mile traffic
You know what's fucking
jam
terrifying?
heading into Ukraine from Russian-controlled Crimea, too. And something to be aware, somebody just mentioned Ruptly. Guys, remember with Ruptly and also RT, they are owned and run by the Russian government. So if you are watching Ruptly or you're watching RT tonight, you are seeing exactly what the Russian government wants you to see. Just a heads up in case you didn't know. In case you think you're watching like neutral news when you're watching Ruptly and RT. Just so you know, they're owned and run by the Russian government. Okay. Let's check the flight radar. Let's check what the flight radar is doing in Ukraine. Not much flights up. We have the U.S. drone is still up. Forte 12 is still up. Forte 11, I don't know if it's leaving or going somewhere else. That's the U.S. drone. So 2 U.S. drones over here. The only planes we see on the radar in the east are 2 U.S. drones. We also have, this just took off. That's a plane leaving Kiev. A passenger plane just took off. This plane is just from Moscow flying to Belgrade. That plane is from Lviv leaving for Budapest. And then this plane is about to land from Hamburg in Kiev. There is, the Kharkiv airport in Ukraine has been closed until morning. There is a no-fly warning above the airport, and I think above Kharkiv, above Kharkiv. And the no-fly, the flight warning says you might be intercepted if you don't follow these orders. Yes, notice to airmen over Kharkiv, up to 16,500 feet, possibility of interception for offenders. Flights of unmanned aircraft are prohibited. Flights of aircraft with maximum takeoff weight of less than 5,700 kilograms are restricted and could be allowed only with permission of Ukrainian Air Force. Possibility of interception if you offend, if you break this, if you don't follow this order. So now we just wait and see what happens tonight. I just saw this, guys, from Vladislav Davidson. Tonight is the most frightened I have ever seen the Ukrainian capital. Everyone thinks that something is about to happen. A friend who spent time with the presidential administration today tells me they look nervous. Please keep the people of Ukraine in your thoughts. All right, here's what I'm going to do, guys, really quick. Hang on one moment. We are bringing you live coverage of the crisis, the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and it's looking very, very bad tonight. It's looking very, very bad. It looks like an invasion could happen, an attack could happen at any time now. I need to take a 1-minute break. I'm coming right back in 1 minute, and in 1 minute we will continue our live coverage. We are here live. I am back. Again, all the signs suggest that we could, at any moment, start seeing a Russian attack on Ukraine. That's what all of the signs are suggesting. Hang on a moment. Andrew Osborne posted this. U.S. satellite image company Maxar says latest images show new deployments in western Russia within 10 miles of border with Ukraine and less than 50 miles from Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Now, we have known for days troops have been there. That's not, I mean, that there are troops that close to Kharkiv is not new. We've seen videos of troops close to that border in the last few days. Unverified imagery of Russian tanks in Donetsk. So this would be the part of eastern Ukraine that's controlled by Russia and Russian-backed separatists. So again, we're talking about this part of eastern Ukraine here. Russian-backed separatists control this area, and Putin 2 days ago said it's no longer part of Ukraine. He declared it independent. And so we've heard multiple reports that Putin has already moved troops in here. But remember, for the last 8 years, basically, Putin has controlled that part through Russian-backed separatists. So what we haven't seen yet is any kind of Russian forces in any area that Russia did not already control previously. So, you know, Donetsk is in here. But we've already heard reports that Putin has been moving troops in here today. Elint News says local reports text messages are not sending in parts of the Donbass. So we might be seeing Russia, you know, I'm sorry to keep saying the background, but these are where the Russian-supported separatists are. But Putin yesterday said he recognizes all of this as independent. So one thing we might see is the Russian forces and the separatists launch an attack coming out this way. So now, really, it's just a question of waiting and see what happens. It looks like all of the ingredients are there for a Russian attack, and we'll just have to, including the manufactured request for Putin to come help the separatists he supports in Ukraine. Parallel Universe says this PSYOPs message is being spread around different social media platforms. Don't film Russian troop movements. After your city will be liberated, you'll be able to take photos, prepare food, water, necessities. Cell service could be down. Locals in Luhansk report on social media they're hearing loud shelling sounds throughout the city. Mobile communication has fallen in Donetsk. I am seeing an unconfirmed report that the cell service is down in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Again, I'm seeing multiple reports multiple reports that mobile service is down in Donetsk on social media in these eastern Ukrainian news channels. Okay, guys? So again, multiple unconfirmed reports from these eastern Ukrainian news channels that in Donetsk cell service is down. seeing multiple reports unconfirmed reports on pro-Russian Telegram channels that cell service is down in Donetsk. Crap, I didn't do that right. Breaking news. Unconfirmed report that departures and arrivals suspended at another Ukraine airport. Is that Dnipro Airport? Dnipro is in, you can see, it's pronounced Dnipro, Ukraine. Unconfirmed report that departures and arrivals suspended at Dnipro Airport. That's from Intel Doge. And Intel Doge is hearing the same thing I'm hearing. Hearing this is a complete mobile communications failure. As I mentioned, here, let me get my map up here. Hold on a second here, guys. Hang on. Hang on one moment. Hang on one moment here. Now I'll get the New York Times map. Donetsk is here in eastern Ukraine. So multiple unconfirmed reports of like a total communications, mobile communications failure in Donetsk. Unconfirmed. Ben Judah reports, retweeted by Intel Crab. Look at this. France is now telling its citizens to immediately leave Ukraine. I have not seen the announcement myself. But I'm going to keep going here. Ukraine has requested an urgent Security Council. There was just a meeting of the UN Security Council 2 days ago. Well, Ukraine Foreign Minister says he requested urgent meeting of UN Security Council, Phil Stewart. Unfortunately, it looks like we may be seeing some kind of Russian attack tonight. Let me just check my Telegram channels here. So multiple reports, I'm seeing multiple reports from pro-Russian channels on Telegram, pro-Russian news channels, saying that there's no more mobile communication in Donetsk region. So who knows what's going on there now? I'm seeing another unconfirmed report that Dnipro Airport is closed. Look, confirmed Dnipro and Kharkiv airports are being closed until 7 a.m. So Parallel Universe found this. Both Dnipro and Kharkiv airports, those are two cities in Ukraine, both airports have now been closed until 7 a.m. No reasons provided. Reports that may not be the same, that may be the same for many other airports across the country. He actually had the original notice here, Parallel Universe. Let me show you on a map where that is. Kharkiv, I need to turn the traffic off. There's Ukraine. There's Ukraine. Kharkiv is up here. Dnipro is here. Here's Dnipro. Here's Kharkiv. Both airports closed until morning. It is now 12:21 a.m. It is 12:21 a.m. in Ukraine. Here is the flight radar situation in Ukraine. In the east part of the country, Russia has apparently moved troops into the eastern part here. We have the only plane is the U.S. drone. That's the U.S. drone there. Here's another U.S. drone. There's a U.S. drone there. That's the only things in the eastern part of the country in the air right now. Those two U.S. drones. There are still some planes coming in and out. That plane's supposed to land at Kharkiv. Wow. Dangerous time for planes to be coming in and out of the country. I wonder if this is going to stop soon. That plane just took off from Kiev. That plane just took off from Kiev. Very dangerous with these aircraft flying around. But on the east side of the country, only this one drone. Same thing we've heard, guys, here. Multiple reports the mobile phone network has gone offline in Donetsk in the last few minutes. Half of Donetsk, roughly half of Donetsk, a little less than half of Donetsk, is controlled by Russian-backed forces. I just saw this, a report that a Teo Breaking News posted this on Telegram. They said Radovka correspondent confirmed there's no mobile connection in Donetsk, only the internet works. Why would Russia take down cell service in Donetsk if they're going to launch? Well, look, let me just say this. I've seen experts say that if Russia was going to do an invasion, they would just maybe take down all the cell service. They could take down the internet. They would do things so that the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian government couldn't communicate and just degrade. So right now we're hearing this in Donetsk. Maybe there's some sort of offensive plan for Donetsk by Russia there. So I can't say exactly, but it was I would say the consensus expert opinion is that if Russia was going to invade, they would start with cyber attacks, electronic warfare, and airstrikes too. I don't know if we'll see airstrikes, but we'll have to see. By the way, and again, in case you missed it, this is Ankit Panda. He does international security stuff, nuclear policy stuff. He thinks this is it. What happened is earlier this evening, the Russian-backed leaders in eastern Ukraine, where Russia has been supporting a